Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Wednesday morning trading room. My name is Eric Senft. I'm going to be your host here for the next hour and a half. For those of you who are new to the DTS system, let me give you a really quick overview of what you're looking at here. DTS is different because, well, DTS stands for Diversified Trading System. And it's diversified because we're looking at the market from three different points of view. Here in the top left, we have the Hawk Micro Scalper. In the top right, we have the Falcon Swing Trader. Bottom left is the Eagle Trend Trader, and the bottom right is the Raptor. The Raptor is actually a kind of a hybrid. It's a blending of the other three birds all into one trading tool. So it incorporates elements of the Hawk, the Falcon, and the Eagle all into one. I'm going to be showing you how the tools work. I'm going to be showing you some of the system add-ons that are available. And with a little bit of luck, we'll even get a couple decent trading opportunities. Yesterday was a decent trading day. It was a little bit slow, but the market was in a full-on rally, even though it was a little slow getting there until Yellen's announcement around 9:30 my time, that's Pacific. And after that, it looks like the market started to pick up a little bit. You're going to notice that all the tools develop the signals the same way. First off, you're going to get a warning dot and an audio alert. Then when the signal parameters are met, you're going to get a triangle and a hash mark. That tells you that it's decision time. And you can see here on the Eagle, we had pretty good result. Even through the overnight, the market put in a little bit of a rally. This band that you see through here, this is going to give us our directional bias. This tool you see up here in the left corner, this is called the Trade Forecaster. This is one of these system add-ons that I was mentioning. You have to excuse me, I'm fighting off a cold. If I happen to sneeze or cough into the microphone, I apologize in advance. The Trade Forecaster here, it's a system add-on, which means it will work on any chart, not just a DTS chart. I happen to have it here on my Eagle. And right now we are in swing mode only for about the next minute, after which time we're moving into scalp mode. So what that means is, well, the market's probably going to give us some shorter follow-through, a little bit more chop. That's what's most likely. Here on the Hawk Scalper, you can see we're getting a little bit of a trend change going on. We've already got the warning dot, triangle, and hash mark. This signal right here, just prior to the open, that's what we refer to as our first micro-macro cross signal. And it occurs because the micro line crosses the macro line, so the thin line crosses the thick line, and it's the first signal where everything is in sync. So we have red bars, red filter, red trend lines, and of course a red signal. So that makes that a very high probability signal. And you can see the market drifted off a little bit, at least found our scalping target. We are looking at a pretty big opening range gap though. The market left off around 44.60 yesterday, and we're opening here around 44.85, give or take. So there's a rather substantial gap below the market. It'll be interesting to see whether they try to get into there today or not, whether they're just going to keep pressing higher. You know, the overnight, again, pretty strong for the Hawk Scalper. Again, first micro-macro cross signal right here. Tremendous follow-through, followed by a 4-arrow consolidation. This is another pattern that we look for, and a macro pullback pattern. The macro pullback pattern is pretty easy to identify. We've got this, everything stays in sync except the micro line. That's a thin one. It goes out of sync. That's what makes that a macro pullback signal. Sorry about that, had a little coughing fit. This tool up here in the left, this is the Day Ranger. This is another system add-on. And the Day Ranger is one of these tools that's very useful for analyzing what kind of stops you want, what kind of profit objectives you want, by giving you the average ranges for the 5, 10, and 30 days, as well as today's range and yesterday's range. So the average range seems to be hovering somewhere around 200 ticks, and what that means is, well, let's say you wanted to take 20% of the day's range as a profit objective. So you would essentially be looking for about a 40-tick target. Or if you want to run, say, 15% of the average range as a stop loss, you would run a 30-tick stop loss. So very helpful in that respect. So nothing going on here on the Hawk scalper just at the moment. Take a quick look here at the Falcon Swing Trader. This is the tool which has been specifically designed to pick up swing trades. And what we've got here is we're paying particular attention to the trend line color. When the trend line is red, we're looking for sell signals. When the trend line is green, we're looking for buy signals. Again, the signals develop the same way. First, we're going to get a warning dot along with an audio alert. And then when the signal parameters are met, we're going to get a triangle and a hash mark. The hash mark is a suggested entry point, but sometimes we'll adjust the entry based on, nearby swing highs or lows or whatever the case may be. But you can see, again, very good follow through on that signal. The market was very cooperative. This is what we call a late filter entry through here. And what happens is the filter goes out of sync, but it comes back into sync and we produce a signal. But the whole time, the trend line does not change color. Notice that? Very important. These lines that you see printing on here, this is the Ultimate Support and Resistance Suite. This is another system add-on. No, they are not pivot points, and no, they are not Fibonacci retracements. They're much better. I'm saying that because I'm the one who did the math behind them. But I'm quite proud of them. They work very well. And they forecast 21 support and resistance zones for the current trading day. So you can see right now, during the overnight, the market came up here, hit the 44.96 region, retreated a little bit. This blue line is our primary resistance. That's going to be a rather important one. And then we also have the median line down here. Generally speaking, these three lines tend to set the bias on the day. So now that the market is above the primary resistance, if it holds, we'll probably see a bullish day. If it fails, well, it will likely retreat here to the median line. And if the bears really take hold, we can probably anticipate a move here to the primary support. But given the strength that we've seen the last couple of days, I'm not sure we're going to get much deeper than that right now. All right, so there's the Falcon, and let's take a real quick look here at the Raptor. As I said, the Raptor is a blending of the other three tools. You can see we've got the clouds here from the Eagle, and no, those are not Ichimoku clouds, but I know they look like them. With the Raptor, we normally incorporate a double band. The signal generation and bar coloring and such is from the Falcon and the Hawk. It was primarily developed, we had a few traders who were trading off laptops, and they were saying, my screen real estate's a little bit precious, can you give me a one-screen tool? So there you go, there's the Raptor. Signal generation, again, the same. You get a warning dot along with an audio alert, triangle and hash mark to tell you all the trade parameters are met. And here too, we're going to be looking for peculiar setups that we like to see, like a hard edge bounce. So the market comes into the hard edge, bounces out, produces a signal, and there was a nice little buy opportunity for the Raptor. These tools that you see here on the right-hand side, these are our order tools. This one here on the Raptor is called the Trailblazer. It's essentially a one-click entry system. I can preset my order size, profit targets. So, I've got 16 different stop strategies to choose from here. They're all customizable. So currently I have the ATR strategy. That's these little blue dots that you see here. And like I said, I can adjust them all if I want to make it a little bit more conservative, maybe dial it back a little. So I can change it up however I like. And that's true for all of them. All right, so we're just kind of waiting for a decent signal. We did get that hard edge bounce here out of the open. The markets I'm looking at here on this particular chart are the NASDAQ. I'm also following gold and crude oil, but I would be happy to pull up any chart which is of interest to you. I'm sure there's probably some e-mini traders in the room, or if there's a currency pair you'd like to see, or even a stock. For those of you who like to follow the stock market or ETFs, if I can get it in my data assortment, I'd be happy to show it to you. All right, so now we're just kind of on hold until we get a decent signal. We are producing a first micro-macro cross. Well, actually, what I'm going to do, because we're in the demo room, I'm going to demo something. So we're going to do the first micro-macro cross signal. And the nice thing about this tool that you see me using here on the right-hand side, this is called the Trade Manager. It's like the Trailblazer, but it has this risk component built in down here. You see the risk percent module here. This means that all my trades are going to be limited to 2% of my trading capital. So let me get a trade on here. So I'm going to set up the trade like so. This is a first micro-macro cross. So we got the warning dot, we got the triangle, we got the hash mark. There's our trade signal. This is one of our higher probability signals. But what I want to point out to you here is that the Trade Manager never allows me to risk more than I can afford to lose. So I'm only risking 2% of my capital. And what you saw happen there is I set up the trade. The market went up, hit my break-even trigger. I employed a break-even trigger for this trade. Automatically grabbed my stop from where I initially had it, brought it up to the break-even, and unfortunately the market is bouncing a little bit around this high and stopped me out at break-even before I could get to my scalping target. But what's important to remember, here, let me dial this back a little bit because there's not much going on. You know, most of you will try to contain your risk by keeping your stop really, really tight. Well, that's okay if you're just trading onesie type contracts, but if you want to make any money, you're never going to make money trading just onesies. So I guess, well, first let me point this out here. So you notice my risk amount is $350. Now don't fall off your chair. That's what is 2% of my trading capital. It might be more or less for you depending on your account. But watch what happens if I put my stop way down here. Oh, look. My risk is still $350. What if I put my stop way, 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 way down here? Oh, my risk is still about $350. But did you notice what changed? What changed was the quantity size, right? So this enables you to place a trade with a reasonable stop and not have to worry about risking more money than you can afford to lose. If the trade works out, great. If it doesn't work out, well, you know, we're going to have an opportunity to adjust our stops given that our initial stops are so deep. But even if we don't, if the market plummets from here, at least I haven't lost more than I can afford to lose. This is what most traders do wrong. Most traders end up risking far too much and losing more than they can afford. And not only that, they end up earning too little when the trade does work out. Now, this has since gone higher after a little hiccup. So, unfortunately, I should have maybe deleted my break-even trigger. But that's all right. We'll get another chance. Let's see. We probably had a Falcon signal. Yes, we did. We got a Falcon signal right here. So this is our trend change signal. So the trend line changes color. Market goes up, comes down, and produces a signal. And I do believe that hit its profit objective as well. Oops, sorry. Got a little issue with my... There we go. So no problem finding our scalping target there. Okay, just 1 second here. I hope I didn't wreck anything. There we go. I just had to do a little management here on my Falcon. Let me reload my trade manager. There we go. Had a little issue with it. All right, crude oil not doing very much. It's on a little bit of a climb, but relatively quiet. And gold also on a little bit of a climb. Let me bring some of those charts over here for you. So here with crude oil, this is crude oil now on the Falcon. And crude oil opened here at 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern. And a nice little trend line touch signal or trend change signal, however you wanted to interpret this. And no problem there. We just kind of, our signal generated right here on that triangle hash mark. Cover it below the low and a nice little progression higher. So no problem hitting our first profit objective with that one. Crude inventory in about 45 minutes time. Ron asks, Eric, can you show the E-mini? Of course. And your questions are welcome. Please don't be shy about asking questions. I'm going to put on another trade here in a moment just so that you can see how the trade manager actually manages the trades. I would like to find a quality trade to show you instead of a market that's just kind of bouncing around a little bit. Okay, my E-mini chart is still loading, so bear with me. Okay, the advance is starting to slow a little bit. You may have noticed that the bar width changes with some of these bars. This is the dynamic equivolume suite from Indicator Warehouse, dynamic equivolume charting that works on any chart style, which is quite unique. Most equivolume charting only works on time-based charts, but these will work on, well, the mean Renko charts that are stock with the DTS system, or regular Renko or range bars, or time charts, or, well, shoot, anything you can think of, really. The wider bars show more volume than thin bars show less volume. So what most people are surprised to learn is that when the market is trending, the volume is actually pretty thin. There's not a lot of resistance to the market moving higher or lower. But when you start to see the bars get a little bit wider, and you're noticing we're getting some tails on here, that tells me that there's a little bit more selling pressure coming into the market. So things slowing just a little, which I suppose is to be expected. All right, the E-mini now. So here's the E-mini on the Hawk micro scalper. And actually, I'm surprised we didn't get a first micro-macro cross signal right here. It looks like it was trying to give us one on this bar, but I guess the parameters weren't quite right for the E-mini, and it hasn't produced a signal just yet. We got a decent signal here in the overnight, and you can see a fair amount of signals yesterday. Unfortunately, these yellow bars spoiled this macro pullback signal, but you did get a first micro-macro cross signal right here again. So out of yesterday's trading, we had a first micro-macro cross, took a little heat on that as it was followed up by a macro pullback, a little bit of a sideways drift, but it did work out. And like I said, unfortunately, this macro pullback signal was spoiled by the yellow bars. I'm not keen on trading yellow bars with the Hawk. The yellow bars are very neutral. But again, it was followed up by a first micro-macro cross signal that did give you a chance to get in, or a secondary signal in case you didn't consider that to be your first micro-macro cross. But this morning, we're still kind of on hold here, at least according to the scalper. Now, there's a reason we have 3 tools. So here's the Falcon swing trader now. And nope, didn't really get a signal out of the open here either with the Falcon. Working on our first trend change signal for the day. And so we've got the up portion. The trend line has changed from red to green. Now we're going to anticipate a down portion, and we're going to look for the market to find some support and come back with a buy signal. So no signal yet on the Falcon, at least not for the E-mini. And here's the E-mini now on the Eagle. The Eagle did give us a signal out of the open. Got a nice little trend signal here. It was against the ATR, so I would have actually waited for the ATR to turn over. This essentially making this our signal bar right there. So you could be looking at a long position according to the Eagle trend trader, and you can see that according to the trade forecaster, we've got about a half an hour of trend left. So we'll see how that plays out. All right, so there's the E-mini S&P. Okay, we're getting a little bit of a pullback now. I anticipate prices are going to head a little bit lower here. Might see a little bit of a pullback. Are we near the top of the hour? Yes, we are. So we're almost at the extent of the opening range. Another 5 minutes or so and we'll see the highs and lows of the opening range, which can be significant as the day progresses. I'm going to get a macro pullback signal here on the hawk. I'm going to take it to show you how the stop trailing system works. However, I think we're going to see a little bit of a failure here actually. So let me go with the, let's go with a fixed tick. We'll go 20 ticks off the low. All right, so there's our stop. Here's our warning dot. So we're getting multiple warning dots. I can anticipate my entry via my handy dandy logic counter. Those are these numbers that you see above and below the bar. It forecasts where the bar is going to finish because this is a range style bar. So there's my hash mark. And what I'll do this time is I'll delete the profit objective and the break-even trigger, just so that you can hopefully see how the trade manager is automatically going to roll my stops for me. But like I said, I'm kind of thinking the market's going to make a little bit of a dip here. So if you're looking for a trade to follow me on, this might not be the best one. All right, so I'm going to delete the break-even. I'm going to delete the profit objective. Now watch the blue dots here. If we happen to finish higher, the trade manager is going to take my stops and automatically roll them according to my stop strategy that I've selected. So what that means is that this trade is now essentially hands-off. You know, if I had my break-even trigger in here, once I hit the break-even objective, we're pretty much playing with their money, but it means that I can go look at other opportunities now. So I don't need to stay focused on this trade. I can park this trade and I can look now for another signal, or I can concentrate on another market. I can see what's going on in gold or crude oil or whatever the case may be. A lot of people are confused about the best way to manage their trades as well. So the trade manager and the trailblazer with the 16 different stop strategies kind of takes some of that pressure off as well. You're not left to second guess what type of stop strategy to use or how you should manage it. And like I said, they're all customizable, so you can change them. And you can preview them as well. So let's say you're looking at, oh, maybe I should use the percent mode, and you can see how it was reacting through the day. You can see whether or not it seems to follow the market well. If that's to your liking, then all you need to do is click accept, and voila, now you are in percent mode. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay with the fixed tick strategy, because if we get this bar to move higher, we should actually see the stop strategy begin to roll the stops. And you'll see how the trade manager automatically does that. Aha, there we go. So you see, now it's going to maintain my stop 20 ticks off of the low of the last bar. If, of course, the market starts retreating against us, it's not going to start rolling the stops down. It's going to hold the stops at the last point. Otherwise, of course, you'd never get stopped out, which kind of defeats the whole purpose. It'll be interesting to see whether or not this is enough to ride out this pending swing. We're taking a little bit of heat here on the hawk. We'll throw that on the shelf. We got a long ways to go here to the hard edge, all the way down here to 44.88. Normally when the market's in a bit of a retracement mode, that's where we anticipate it to go. Actually, let me see if Marlene is in the room this morning, because Marlene emailed me a question about the Raptor. No. Marlene was just looking for a clarification on one of our Raptor signals. So here you can see now with the fixed tick strategy. This is 20 ticks off of the low, but notice the trade manager did not roll my stop away from the market. So the last point, pardon me, that's where it's going to hold the stops now until the market either reverses or I get stopped out. Now, if we see a little bit of an advance here, I can change my stop strategies to something more aggressive, or I can even, manually roll my stops. I can take my stops and roll them up here if I choose. Still working a macro pullback signal. This may turn into a 4-arrow consolidation, which is another one of our high probability signals here on the Hawk. It's essentially looking for 4 signals, and the market tends to rally off of that 4th signal. So we like to be alert for those. Oh, another quiet morning. So I anticipate a little bit more of a pullback here. Pardon me. Market might even get into a red bar buy scenario. We're working on a trend line touch signal here on the Falcon. Traders very content with where the market is at the moment, around 4,500, which is great. People always asking me why I prefer the NASDAQ versus something like the E-mini. Well, what a lot of people don't realize is, while the NASDAQ is a lot more affordable, it's only $5 a tick, but it tends to move dollar for dollar with the E-mini. So in other words, if the E-mini makes a $200 move, the NASDAQ will make a $200 move. But whereas the NASDAQ is only $5 a tick, the E-mini is $12.50 a tick. So what that means is with the NASDAQ, I can take 2 or 3 times, depending how the trade is set up, as many contracts as I can with the E-mini. Well, why is that important, you say? Well, it gives me a lot more management opportunities. Say, for instance, here on the NQ trade, I'm long 2 contracts. Well, with the E-mini, I would only be able to afford 1. So let's say I choose to sell off one of my positions at 45.08. With the E-mini, it would be an all or nothing proposition, right? Do I take profit on target? Do I try to run it out? What do I do? Well, by having the ability to trade multiple contracts, you get a lot more management opportunity than you would by just trading a single. The NASDAQ also has certainly enough volatility through the day and enough volume to make it a really good day trading market. All right, so you can see we're advancing a little bit now. Our stops being managed again by the trade manager here, so pretty much hands off. We've got well, you could count this, 1, 2, 3 signals working again on that 4-arrow consolidation / macro pullback type signal. But for the most part, the market is just kind of stuck sideways here for the last 10 or 15 minutes. All right, so you see we hit our profit objective, or our first profit target, and the trade manager automatically adjusted my trade. So now I'm trailing 1. So I took profit on 1, trailing 1, and I've still got my stop strategy in play. So we'll see whether or not we can ride out this little swing. And I can adjust this on the fly. Let's say I wanted to go with something like parabolics. Well, no, I won't do that because parabolics will stop me out. Parabolics are right there. Maybe the ATR. Yeah, the ATR will work. Let's go with the ATR strategy. And we'll take it to break even. There we go. Oh, all right. So made profit on one, got tagged on the other. Not bad for a little scalp. Very often I'm a big proponent of all in, all out type trades. I would have had twice the profit on that had I just gone in and out. David is asking, am I muted? No. Oh, yes. Yes, David, you are muted. Everybody in the room is muted but me. Because if I opened up everybody's microphone, nobody would be able to understand anything. But feel free to type in your question or comment. All right, well, here we are. We're just kind of floundering a little bit. I'll put on another trade here in a moment, just again so you can see how the tools work, because I know that's why you're here. Unfortunately, of course, we can't make the market do anything. But we'll see if we can't find a quality trade somewhere. Almost like a little itty-bitty double top. See here? So obvious resistance to going higher around the 45.10 mark. Again, I'm not going to get too crazy here on the short side because of the strong trend, but it does appear as though a move lower would not be out of the question. You can see we're getting a couple warning dots here on the Falcon. So a trade is setting up. We don't have the signal just yet. We can kind of get ready for it. Activate our tools. We should be producing a signal on the Raptor also. No, not yet. We did produce a signal here on the Raptor. You can see we just kind of breached these highs and retreated a little bit. This is always the issue, buying at the top end of the trading range. Aha, I forgot to mention this little tool here. This is the Geiger Counter. The Geiger Counter is another system add-on. It's not specific to the Raptor. You can put this on any chart, a 5-minute chart, a tick chart, a volume chart, whatever you want. Even a point and figure chart if you wanted. This is essentially a tape reader. It gives you a visual of the time and sales along with the histogram here, so you can see what prices have been doing. This dial around the tool I find particularly useful because as we're looking at the market beating up here against these highs, you can see what's happening to the buyers and sellers. So if this dial pulls hard over one way or the other and holds and holds and holds, you know, for about 3 or 4 or 5 seconds, that shows you the buyers or the sellers really trying to chew through those orders. See here how it's holding, it's chewing, it's chewing, it's chewing. Now if we don't see the buyers rally off of that, that tells us that all the buying pressure is being absorbed and we're probably going to see a move lower. Now here with the Raptor, I'm waiting on a signal called, or that we call the soft edge sell. And it's essentially a counter trend signal. I'll be looking for the trade to reverse into the hard edge here. Oh, we've got a really tight little range. There's that buying pressure again. See the wheel trying to pull over. Oh, it's failing now and heading the other way. There we go. It's got to pull over and hold and hold. Now it's moving the other way. It's not the flip-flopping back and forth that I'm interested in. You see how it's stuck here to the short side? That's what I'm most interested in, is if it pulls over and it holds and it holds and it holds and it holds, that's a lot of selling pressure. That's a lot of selling pressure on the market. Now, same thing, if we're producing a signal here, that gives me a little bit of confidence to take the signal. Or if I'm currently long, I might be thinking, ooh, all that selling pressure coming in, it might be time to get my stops in really nice and cozy in case the market actually fails at this point. Now here too, you know, we're anticipating some reaction to the short side. We saw a lot of selling pressure down. If the market does not follow through with that, that tells me that all that selling pressure was absorbed by the buyers, and we're going to see a little bit of a move here to the upside. We don't have a signal just yet. They're still trying to sort themselves out. But that's what we're waiting on. So it's moving, it's making some significant moves higher and lower. See how it's holding there now to the buy side? You see these spikes, these little islands of buying and selling that came into the market? Those are significant. All right, so here comes a warning dot. We're going to produce a buy signal. The buy signal, no doubt, is going to be somewhere near the high. I'm not going to take the market until we take out the high anyhow. And, well, here, let's set it up like this. We'll do the ATR. No, the ATR is a little too cozy. Let's go with the swing low. That's a little tight too. Let's dial it back a little bit. Okay. So I've enabled the swing low strategy. It's a little bit more conservative. More conservative still is perhaps the chandelier. Yeah, let's go with that. We'll go with the chandelier strategy. All right, so it looks like we're getting a whole lot of buying pressure. We did have a warning dot there for a moment. There it is. Signal not following through, though. That's a little odd. No doubt it has to do a little bit with this sideways drift that we're experiencing. Kind of hit the sideways range around quarter to the hour. So we've been moving sideways for about the last half hour. Oh, there we go. There's a lot of buying pressure again. You can see our needle has turned green as well, suggesting there's a little bit more of a bullish bias to the buying and selling. I'd like to demonstrate the trade manager or the trailblazer for you because it's just a one-click system. Well, you know what? I'm gonna do it here. We don't have a signal. Don't get me wrong. We don't have a signal. I'm just going to show you how this works. The main difference between the trailblazer and the trade manager is the trailblazer does not have this risk management component. So you're going to need to know more or less what your position size should be. All right, so it looks like we're trying to reverse here, so maybe I'll try to short it, and we'll put our stops above the highs. Now, the nice thing about the Trailblazer, the reason it was developed is we had a few of our owners who were trading some very active markets, and they said, you know, by the time I hit my set prices button and I click my entry and my exit, and you can also select your profit objective. I very often go with the presets. They said, and then I got to come back and I have to hit the submit market. In a very fast market, sometimes, you know, that's a few too many steps. So the Trailblazer was born. The Trailblazer is a one-click entry system. All you preset your quantities and your profit objectives, and then you select your stop strategy, and after that, you just click the buy or sell market button. Now you can also set a trade manually by, you know, selecting it the old-fashioned way and just dragging it in. But that's the Trailblazer. It's a one-click entry system. Very useful, again, for fast-moving markets. I'm just happy to demonstrate it here on the Raptor. You can put this on any chart. In fact, I should probably throw it on my Hawk scalper because that's where it would be most useful. And this was not a signal. I'm just put that up there to demonstrate it for you so that you can see how it worked. Although I would welcome a soft edge sell signal here if we got one. Yeah, the Hawk is getting a little more bearish. We're producing a red bar buy signal here. This actually tends to develop near the end of a trend. You can buy the soft edge, or the red bar buy signal, but you can also set up to short the failure of it. So you could short it like that if you chose. But honestly, when you're in a sideways market, it's always a tough market to trade. All right, so here's our signal now on the Raptor. I'm going to not enter on the hash mark, rather I'm going to enter above the high of that bar right there. So I'm going to put my buy order up here. The hash mark is a suggested entry. It doesn't mean that you don't or can't take into consideration other support or resistance areas that are nearby. It's okay to use common sense. I'll get my stop strategy ready. I'll go with the chandelier again. It's going to keep my stops a little bit further away to start. At least until we get out of this sideways drift. By the way, the best thing to do when you're in a sideways market like this, people always ask me, how do you trade a choppy market? Well, really you don't. Best thing to do with a choppy market is to wait it out. So if you know that this is the market range, the best thing you can do is let the market break, retest, and then look for your signal. And same thing here. Let it break, retest, and then look for your signal. So long as it's stuck within this range, it's going to be tough trading. As you've no doubt noticed, most breakout from ranges tend to fail. They don't tend to have very good follow-through. Well, here we are, watching the paint dry. Oh, crude oil inventory in about 8 minutes time. So I'll show you the Ocio function. And I'm just using the Falcon here. I could do this on any of the tools, but here's the Falcon. The Ocio function, one cancels other. And that's essentially, well, a bracketing tool. Now what I prefer for the crude inventory report is that the market is moving sideways in a well-defined range, actually more like what we're seeing in the NASDAQ, so that I have a range I can bracket and buy above the high and sell below the low. Not so much luck today, but you know what? We're going to throw a buy stop in above there, and we're going to throw a sell stop in below this support line right here. Oops. Support line right there, because the market's almost trading in the middle. Now when you use the Ocio function, pardon me, you need to be aware that these orders are live the moment you put them on your chart. And I think I'm going to dial this back a little bit. Here we go. So in about 5 minutes time, we'll get we'll see what's going on with the crude inventory. Other than that, things are still pretty quiet. I'm not sure why they're so reluctant today. I think we're going to actually see a bullish rally here out of crude. So what do we got? We got about 5 minutes. Oh, I'll throw the Geiger counter on here as well, just so you can see it, see the order flow. Okay, I just heard my order get filled, so I think that was on the hawk. It is. So here's the Hawk scalper. We're shorting the red bar buy, the failure of it, because this is our counter trend signal. And let me see where my stops are at. Yeah, I'll go with, no, it's not what I want. I don't want to roll with my ATR stop too quickly. All right, we'll go with the swing strategy. There we go. So we'll hold our stops there. We're coming back now with a green bar sell. Ooh, almost had a green bar sell. You know what? Maybe initial. Hold on. I'm going to do it like this. There. I just want to hold my stop above this contract high, above this swing high. The reason being, if it takes out the high of the day, well then I definitely know I'm on the wrong side of the trade. In the meantime, we'll just let that kind of sort itself out. I can cancel my buy trade here on the Raptor because that signal has since it didn't have any follow through. It never actually engaged. We are working on a soft edge sell. This is that signal that I mentioned to you, where it's actually a signal that we're expecting a move into the hard edge. So I can set up to short. Place my stops up there if the signal engages. And we would anticipate a move here to the bottom end of the trading range. All right, I'm going to put that on the shelf, and here comes the crude inventory. So the market right in the middle, more or less, of our trading range. I'm looking to buy above this resistance line and the high, and short below this resistance line. Robert's asking, how do you set the Ocio? The Ocio button is right here. So you toggle it on and off. When it's on, it's blue. When it's off, it's gray. And then you simply right-click on your chart and you select your buy or sell orders. And again, those orders will be live the moment you put them on your chart, so you can adjust them. And you need to be a little careful with them that you don't place them too close. All right, so here's the inventory. You can see our Geiger counter starting to get a lot more active. The needle driving here hard to the short side. A lot of selling coming in. Crude oil, they're tricky though. The alternate strategy to trading the crude inventory report is to let the report hit the floor and give it about a minute or so, and then you'll see the range or the current range, and then you can bracket that. That's what a friend of mine likes to do. All right, looks like they're going to try to give it a tap here to the upside. See, look at that buying coming through the market here. Did produce a trend change signal right here on the Falcon. The resistance line holding it pretty well, right on the numbers so far. There we go. So we've bought into the market, and you notice that the sell order disappeared. So we're currently long. using the ATR stop strategy that I've selected. We do have a break-even trigger in play. I can delete that if I chose, or I can even, you don't always get a break-even. I happen to have it set up with a break-even, but you can turn that off as well if you would rather not have it. Okay, so I'm going to go with the swing strategy now, and I've got my stop pretty much right here on the resistance line. I'll put it one more away. There we go. We're just below the resistance line. Some people like to use the support and resistance suite as profit objectives as well. So let's say you wanted to take profit here at 40.07. Well, you could put your profit target there. Or if you wanted to choose the next line of 40.57, you could put your profit target up there. Let's see how that works. Let's see if we can get two zones out of crude oil today. If it gets here to the 40 level, I'm going to force it to break even by hitting the break even button. Come on, keep going. Sometimes it helps if you give it a little push with your mouse. Come on, get up there. Still a lot of buying pressure, which is good to see. The seller's trying to fight it back. You can see we're getting some selling coming into the market now. And you see Trade Manager rolled my stop from down here to below the next swing low. Might be a little bit too soon though. Oh well, we'll let it play out. This whole $40 area is a real stumbling block for crude oil now. Come on, let's go. It's trying. See how the warning dot keeps flipping back and forth? I don't know if you can see that. Because it's so close to the green line here, it keeps flip-flopping. So this is a pretty important bar for crude oil right now. Come on, let's go. Get up there. So if we can see it hit 39.86, 87, we'll get a little bit of room to move here. But the seller's pushing really hard. But if we can trade above this little swing high on this last bar, I think we're going to see the sellers have to vacate their short attempts. Come on. Well, I wish we had a little bit more activity, but there's nothing we can do about it right now. All right, well, we'll just kind of let that sort itself out. I thought we were going to see it continue a little bit further so that you could see how the stop strategies work, but crude oil a little bit flat after that initial rally. Juan is asking why are sometimes the Renko candlesticks, they're going down but the color is green instead of red. In his mind, green you should be long and red you should be short. Great question, Juan. And by the way, some people ask here about the Raptor. Do I have to have blue bars and pink bars? No, you can change the bar color to whatever you want. All right, so Juan is asking, why is the why are prices going down and the bars are green? Or here on the Hawk, prices are going down and the bars are green. Okay, part of the programming of each of the tools will paint the bar color based on what is going on in the market. So even though the market is heading down, the Hawk scalper says that the market still has a bullish bias to it. So it means that we shouldn't be too interested in selling just yet. We should still be looking for buying opportunities. Now that the bars are all red and our trend lines are red and our filter is red, it's saying, okay, it's time to look for selling opportunities. So part of the programming behind the DTS system was to try to make things as simple as possible. I know it looks a little bit convoluted right now, but trust me, it's really not that difficult to learn. There's only a few signals that we really concentrate on, which are our high probability signals. of which the macro pullback is one. So the bars will paint according to the programming, whether there's more of a bullish or a bearish bias, not necessarily the direction of the bar. So here on the Eagle, you can see that the hollow body bars, these would be your traditional green bars. These solid body bars, these would be your traditional red bars, where the close is below the open. But even here, the market is retreating. We're not looking to sell yet. We're still looking to buy because everything is still green. And then we come back with a buy signal, and there we go. Big move up. These bars will not turn red until there's more of a selling bias. So it's a great question. Thank you for asking. That's why they're programmed the way they are. Yeah, Juan is asking if I make an entry on a green color going down, the system will respect my short entry? Yes, absolutely. You can buy or sell at will. You know, let's say like right now we're getting sell signals here on our Falcon. If I want to throw in a buy signal, and let's say I want to buy the market, oops, let's try that again. Am I on a stop? Yeah, I'm on a stop. If I want to buy this, yeah, of course, the market will let me buy it. In fact, I'm going to do this here on let me do this here on a market order. And you'll see. So I'm going to set up my trade. It's going to be a market order. I hit submit, and now I'm long. Even though the Falcon is saying you're getting a sell signal, if you wanted to buy that, yes, by all means, go ahead, buy it. It's not one of our signals. It's not a signal that we would look for. But hey, at the end of the day, it's your money, right? You can do whatever you want. But yes, to answer your question, the signal generation is there for you to help guide you. It's kind of like a roadmap. It helps point you in the direction, and you can buy or sell accordingly. But generally speaking, if we're getting a sell signal, well, we would be more interested in selling than buying. Yeah. Oh, Jim says, good morning, Eric. Nothing for you today. The virus on the CPU, so I'm loading a new machine with Ninja 8. Ouch. I hate that. Jim says, I did get one trade in for 25 ticks this morning. Nicely done. At least it wasn't a total waste. You haven't missed anything though, Jim. The market's just been dead flat this morning. Nothing going on. Not in crude, not in gold, not in the stock indices. Everybody just hanging tough. Well, there's not much else to show you. We are getting a first micro-macro cross signal here now on the short side. So what we did is we sold the failure of this red bar buy. You don't need to trade the red bar buys or the green bar sells. That's the inverse. But you can use them as an early warning that the trend may be ending and we're going to see a move the other way, in which case we're going to get a first micro-macro cross signal, and you can see it's generating in more or less the same region as the failure of the red bar buy signal. So this first micro-macro cross signal occurs when the micro line crosses the macro line. It's the first signal where everything is in sync. Now, I know some of you are looking and saying, well, Eric, wasn't this one it back here? Well, yes, it was. But notice everything went out of sync. Bar colors are out of sync. Trend lines are out of sync. Filter is out of sync. and everything comes back into sync. So we're actually producing two first micro-macro cross signals back to back. And if we can get down here just below the bottom end of the sideways trading range, I think we're going to see a little bit of a move lower. Nothing too terribly aggressive. The market still much more bullish. You can see my stops initially, they started up here, and now Trade Manager just rolling them. We hit the break-even trigger. So the stops went from here to the break-even target, and from there we hit our profit objective. So it takes, a lot of the guesswork out of your trade management. It always protects you by never risking more than you can afford. Here we're also short on the Raptor. We had a comparable signal here on the Raptor as well as the Falcon. We could be short on the Falcon also. And you can see we're just hovering above our break-even trigger. So if we hit the break-even, you're going to see the stops go from here to our break-even. You can also manually send the trade to break-even, and you can set how much you want to protect. 1 tick, 2 ticks, 3 ticks, or you can even have a negative break-even. You can have break-even minus 3 ticks or 10 ticks or whatever you want, really. Normally we go to break-even plus 1, so at least the broker gets paid. So if you wanted, you could manually force that trade to break-even also, anytime you like, regardless of where the break-even trigger is. And these break-even triggers, they're also adjustable. Right? I can set those wherever I want. Another cool feature, and there we go, we got tagged on break-even on that little bit of a hiccup. I do expect prices to drift down here to the hard edge. So that was a little premature getting out of that one. All right, you guys, there's really not much going on here this morning. If anybody has any questions or any market that they'd like me to highlight, please type away. Otherwise, I think we're going to button up the room for the morning. Ryman says, Eric, I'm giving up the E-mini for the NASDAQ. You convinced me. Some of you will have heard this story before, but I didn't trade the NASDAQ for the longest time. In the trading room, I'd be focusing on the E-mini. I'd be trading the mini Dow. I'd be trading the Russell. I'd be following the DAX. All the big stuff, all the big sexy markets. And there was a little old lady in Florida. Just stereotypical little old lady in Florida. And she was trading the NASDAQ lights out. Every day she'd post me, oh, Eric, I took $500 out of the NQ today. Oh, I had a really good day. I took $1,000 out of the NQ today. And I thought to myself, I really got to give this market another look. And it's been my favorite market. It's been my go-to market ever since. I think there's a lot of advantages, especially for the smaller trader, to be trading the NQ. All right, you guys, no more questions. We're going to button up the room then. Have yourselves a wonderful day. Thank you for your attendance. And DTS owners, I will see you in the trading room tomorrow morning. Hopefully the market will be a little bit more active than it was this morning. I do anticipate the market to pick up in the afternoon, so it tends to go this way. If the morning is quiet, the afternoon tends to be a little bit more active. All right, you guys, see you tomorrow. Bye for now.